I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight, including those viewing our live broadcast. My name is Dr. Doug Kelly. It's good to be with you, and it's good to have you here. Tonight we are going to have several interesting topics. I'm going to be talking about the power and magic of belief as my segment. Dr. Vicki Hunter will be talking about the topic when children talk about past lives. And then we have a guest speaker tonight, Dr. Pieter Elsen. He will be discussing life between lives, spiritual regression. So that is our lineup for tonight. Dr. Pieter Elsen will be talking life between lives, spiritual regression. Pieter Elsen, PhD, was born in Holland and has lived in 5 countries and on 3 different continents. Born and educated in the Netherlands, Pieter studied 5 years with the renowned Design Academy in Eindhoven. Though he graduated with honors, Pieter felt there was more to life and set out on a 20-year journey to self-discovery that brought him to France, India, England, and finally the U.S. Pieter was a Vedic monk for 21 years, of which 11 were spent in India. While there he studied extensively the deep and spiritual philosophy of the East. He uses this experience and knowledge extensively as a therapist and life coach counselor, integrating Western and Eastern schools of thought. After coming to the United States, he channeled his experience as a gifted motivational speaker as well as his background in philosophy and international cultural diversity into the field of clinical hypnotherapy and NLP. In 2014, Pieter attained his PhD in metaphysical humanistic science with specializations in holistic life coaching and spiritual counseling. Dr. Pieter Elsen specializes in helping people find their true purpose in life. Dr. Elsen, welcome to the program. It's nice to have you here. Take it away.
Thank you. Okay, today I'm to speak about life between lives, spiritual regression. And it was interesting to hear Dr. Hunter and talking about the concept of linear time. And what's also interesting is that when we do spiritual regression work, we find ourselves basically going due to deep hypnotic experiences from a beta conscious state to an alpha deeper state and then to the theta state, where we tap slowly into a unconscious and even superconscious experience. Now, as we know in the field of subconscious sciences, that time does not exist in the unconscious and the subconscious, and also in the superconscious, time doesn't seem to be existing. So I really like the idea what Dr. Kelly Hunter said, that could there be multiple dimensions happening simultaneously. Now, a lot of people are interested in knowing where are we coming from and where are we going to. And a lot of people, they go to psychics and ask questions to gurus and masters, which I have all been doing. But what about if we could have our own spiritual experience? What about if we could go deep and deep within and have an experience of a superconscious reality ourselves that nobody else has to tell us is true or not true? Now, one of the fascinating things I've been doing quite a bit is past life regression and life between life spiritual regression. And you may have heard about Dr. Michael Newton, his world's bestseller books, Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. They have been delving into the research of life between life spiritual regression. Now, what is the difference between past life regression and life between life spiritual regression? Now, past life regression is when we go down in a deep hypnotic state where we not just tap into somebody's subconscious memories, but we go deeper into the unconscious, and we can go even still deeper into a superconscious state. Now, it takes a lot of skills to get somebody to really go back that deep into a hypnotic trance. And people like Edgar Casey, for example, they could do it naturally. He would lay down and tap into an Akashic record or tap into the unconscious minds of other people and retrieve information. And we need not to explain the power of Edgar Casey's work. Now, in past life regressions, basically what we do, we go back into a sequence of somebody's past and see what are the tendencies, what are the happenings that have caused somebody to be in a certain situation. We can say, well, we are the product of environmental, parental, and genetic components, which is of course all true. But if we to believe Newton's third law of motion, every action has a reaction equal and opposite, we could ask ourselves, well, why am I finding myself in this environment with these parents and with this genetic predisposition? Is that just, am I being held a bad deck of cards or a good deck of cards? We could say, well, we can extend the spectrum, we can extend the causality to go back much further, that perhaps the result of why I'm here with these set of circumstances could be causality. We can pull it back further, and past life regression explores these questions. Past life regression will help us see, is there indeed a causality behind my present situation, or is it just random? And I have found by doing many of these past life regressions, astonishing results and incredible clarification happening in people's lives, that they start to understand certain contradictions in their personality that are the result of these past life experiences. Now, but life between life spiritual regression is something different. This is where, in an extremely deep state of regression, we actually go back into a spirit dimension. So it is as if you're peeling the layers of an onion. And now we are conditioned by our environment, we are conditioned by our parental influence and our genetic code. But what if we could dislodge our soul state from kind of conditioning? That would be obviously a very liberating and spiritual experience. And because we are completely identified at this moment with this personality of Peter or Jane or Jack, and we can't seem to disconnect from it. But when we take somebody in a very deep spiritual state, in the life between life spiritual regression, we are not even particularly going back to past lives. We are bringing somebody into a superconscious state where they are in between lives. So you could technically say between you died and before you were born. Now, again, here is no time in this kind of consciousness. So technically, if we would regress you back after the death of your last life into the spirit world, you could say, well, then we are before we are born here, but in that now time, there is no such thing. We are in the now, and you have an incredible clarity in that level. And I can tell you my own experience when I had my own life between life spiritual regression. I wasn't in some strange world. I was here right now, at all levels simultaneously. And it's a bit what Dr. Vicky said, that could there be multiple worlds happening at the same time? Are these perhaps different levels of consciousness? And in my own experience, I found that to be true. I was laying in the chair in an extremely deep trance state. I saw myself laying in this body, in this chair, but at the same time, my mind was in an extremely high spiritual state where I could look back over all my past lives. I could look back over myself laying in this chair, and I was talking about myself, means Peter, in this third person. And the counselor was asking me, the therapist was asking me questions, and I was saying, yeah, Peter should do this, he should know that, he knows that, and blah, 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 about myself. Because I was dislodged from the limited identifications of my current conditioning. So what are the spiritual benefits from such an experience? What I have found with working with a lot of clients and also having gone through these experiences myself is this idea that I am not just Peter. I am a soul, a spirit moving through different experiences, through different levels of consciousness. And if we want to deal with a lot of the struggles and pains in our lives, it is extremely helpful to know that I'm not just this. This is a temporary phase. Is it unreal? No, it's like a river. You look at a river, is the river unreal? No, it's not unreal, but is it permanent? No, it's not. There's nothing permanent about a river. And so we can lift our consciousness into an extremely high state, which you can do through meditation and spiritual experiences, but most people have a lot of difficulty getting there in their meditations. So an LBL, a life between life therapist, and there are only very few. Those that are accredited with Michael Newton, there's only 218 therapists in the world that are licensed in his name to do it. And using his methodology after 30 years of research by Dr. Michael Newton, we have found this technique to be so powerful that you can basically pick anybody off the street if they are willing and take him there within 2 days into that super conscious state. And it is, I have found it to be a most brilliant kind of methodology. And Michael Newton, he has kept his work, he had kept it hidden for 30 years before publishing it, because he was a psychoanalyst and he thought, well, what the heck is this? He had been doing a lot of cases with thousands of people, and he was very hesitant to show this kind of evidence in his practice to a lot of people. And one of the miracles of this work is the consistency of experiences that people have, because he worked with literally thousands of cases, people that didn't know about his work, whose books were not yet published. And he found an incredible similarity in experiences. What is happening with people in the life between life states, where they meet guides, they have spiritual counsel, they can meet their soul groups. And again, he found these experiences to be similar. Now, if you can say, well, you're just stepping in your own subconscious imaginations, how could it be that there is this similarity in experiences? And finally, after 30 years of doing this work, he had the courage to publish these books, and it really resonated with millions of people. And he sold literally millions of books translated in 35 languages. And so there are a lot of wonderful therapeutic and spiritual benefits from having such an experience. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming on and being part of this tonight. Some good information. I know that's a fascinating topic, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks so much, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right. So that whole topic of the possibility of life between lives is fascinating.